Hey people, how are you? It's Makeda Valletta. I am reporting live from Chicago on my IG Live. After I film this on my IG page, I will repost it onto my YouTube page. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, I am a strength and conditioning coach, a nutritionist, holistic nutritionist, dancer, sacrosexual educator. And since 2007, I've been teaching a class to women called Sensual Strength Training. Let me put my glasses on because some of you guys are writing things and I can't see it. Okay. I'm blind. So right now I'm outside in Chicago, sitting on Lake Michigan. See how beautiful it is? 81 degrees here. So I just wanted to do a brief video about my upcoming Sensual Strength Training classes. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you may already know about these classes, but I haven't taught them. I started teaching them in 2007, but I haven't taught the class in a couple of years. I also have a men's class called Kundalini Strength Training. It's like the male version of the class. But right now I'm going to talk about my women's class because I'm about to teach it again in Chicago on June 5th and 6th. And I'll also be teaching it in New York on Memorial Day weekend. And I should have those dates on the top of my head, but I don't. I'll write them below. It's the last weekend in May. I can't remember if it was the 28th and the 29th, I don't know. So last Saturday and Sunday in May, Memorial Day weekend. So I have a video I did like back in 2014, which is 7 years ago now, talking about explaining this class, the Sensual Strength Training class. So the class has 3 components, right? One component is teaching women why it's important to strength train, okay? That means lifting weights, using resistance, okay? Which is different than body weight exercise. Why it's important to squat with weights, why it's important to work your back and your chest and your shoulders, okay? With resistance. For women who want to lose, I don't like saying lose weight because really you want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle and you don't want to lose, you don't want to dehydrate yourself because when you lose weight, you could either lose water weight, which is chronic dehydration, or you can lose muscle, which is never good. But that happens when you don't eat enough food or calories, or you're doing catabolic exercise, which is exercise that breaks down and destroys your muscle. But most people, when they say they want to lose weight, they're talking about the fat that they want to lose, right? So if you want to lose fat, you want to strength train because the more muscle you have, the more calories that you burn, even when you're not doing anything. It speeds up your metabolism. And if you are thin and you want to gain weight, which is what I've always worked out for. I mean, I've always worked out to be strong and athletic, but I always wanted to gain weight. I'm never trying to lose weight. But even if you're someone who's slim, male or female, and you want to gain weight, you want to strength train, okay? Because if you notice naturally thin people, no matter how much they eat, they don't gain weight. You have to strength train. You have to stress the muscle, cause the muscle to tear up, and then you eat, and that helps to rebuild the muscle stronger and thicker, right? And after the age of 30, we're in a state of decline. From the time that we're born until about 25, we're in a state of building, right? From about 25, 30 and on, we're in a state of destruction, okay? And how quickly your body falls apart after 25 or 30 depends on what you did before 25 and 30 and what you continue to do. So you want to do exercises that, help to give your body shape. And also, muscle is shock absorbers, right? So muscles absorb shock. So if somebody has knee problems or back problems, you want to strengthen the muscles around the knees and around the back or whatever shoulders, whatever joints are bothering you. You want to strengthen the muscles around that joint because muscles take stress off the joint because they're shock absorbers. Also, muscles move bones. So as you get older, like sometimes you see elderly people who are losing range of motion. They can't lift their arm anymore. They can't do certain things. And some people will think, oh, they need to stretch. But really, they need to strengthen the muscles that surround that joint because the muscles move bones, right? So those are all the reasons that you want to strength train. Oop. So one component of my class is teaching women how to do that properly. Also, when we strength train, male or female, it increases our testosterone. And testosterone increases our desire for sex. And this is in men and women. You have postmenopausal women who also are taking, artificial testosterone and hormones, and men who age and have testosterone issues, which is why you don't want to be jogging all the time, because that actually destroys your muscle. It's catabolic. You want to do anabolic exercise. So a man that has a testosterone issue, you want to do things going to increase your testosterone. Strength training will do that. Jogging for miles won't do that. Okay, that'll actually do the opposite. Damn, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Hopefully nobody calls me and messes up this video. So that's the strength training component. So I teach why that's important and how to do it properly. The second component to my class is using dances of the African diaspora that involve intense hip movements. Dances from Haiti, from Dominican Republic, from Cuba, from Brazil, from Colombia, from Peru, from New Orleans, whatever. Dances from the African diaspora, particularly in the Americas, particularly Congo-based dances that involve hips to get women to connect to their hips and have more control and fluidity in their hips, because this is true for men and women too, that we store trauma in our bodies, but we can especially store it in our hips. And for women who plan to give birth, it's important as well because it helps with childbirth. You need to have flexible hips. You don't want to have stiff, tight hips. Most of our blood supply runs through our hips. And also it can help to dispel trauma that a woman may be holding on to that then can be activated in childbirth, okay? And also can be passed on to our offspring. Men can also pass on trauma that they don't heal. But because women have to, sorry, it's so windy. Hopefully you can hear me okay. But, because women have to carry the babies, it's even more important. So that's the dancing helps women to connect to their hips and get more control. It also helps sexually with raising the Kundalini energy. A lot of people talk about Kundalini yoga, but Kundalini yoga is very stagnant. You're not moving your hips at all. There's no stimulation of the hips. There's no rhythmic control. Okay, so I really believe in dances of the African diaspora to raise Kundalini energy and also help to prepare a woman for childbirth, or even if she doesn't, plan on having kids or want to have kids. It's still good because most of our blood supply runs through our hips and all the other reasons that I gave, right? And sexually helps with orgasms and all those things. The third component to my class is using Nani eggs, which some people call yoni eggs or jade eggs. I call them Nani eggs from the Hawaiian indigenous word puanani, which means sacred flower, which are crystal stone eggs that women work with internally in the vaginal canal to get them not only to connect to their vaginal muscles, but to get more control, rhythmic control. It's not just about having tight muscles, okay? It's not about that. It's about elasticity. When people do so-called Kegels where they're squeezing, that can cause a woman to be too tight, okay, and too rigid, which is not good. You want elasticity. The relaxation is just as important as the tightening. Elasticity means that something is this tight and it stretches out to here, it should be able to stretch it should be able to go right back to here again. If something is this tight and it stretches out to here, and then it only goes back to here, then it's not elastic. It's lost elasticity, right? So it's ideal for women to maintain elasticity in our vaginal muscles. So, and just a woman wearing the egg can help do that, but there are focused exercises that I teach. Meditations, teaching women how to move the energy. Teaching women how to, someone just jumped in the water. Teaching women how to move that sexual Kundalini energy, okay? Also, when we have orgasms, when our nipples are stimulated, and when we move our hips, I said orgasms, nipple stimulation, moving our hips, it increases the estrogen. Estrogen makes a woman feel more seductive and want to feel more sensual, whereas testosterone increases the drive, the aggressive drive for sex. So it's important for us to work on both of those hormones. So hence, sensual strength training, right? So I will be teaching back in the day, I started teaching a class in 2007. I've taught classes in Chicago, New York, Atlanta, LA, Oakland, Miami. I used to teach workshops in Costa Rica. Back in the day when I used to teach the class in New York, I used to teach it twice a week for 4 weeks. And I like that model because it gave you, what I've noticed at working with women is that every time they came back to do it another day, they would notice changes. Like, you do it one day, you feel these certain things. Tomorrow you do it, you feel other things you didn't feel the day before. So when it was twice a week for 4 weeks, it gave women a chance to like measure their progress, right? And to get into a consistent rhythm. When I used to teach in other cities, I used to teach like a weekend workshop. And then I used to teach intensives in Costa Rica, which would be like 4 or 5 straight days for hours. But the workshops that I'm going to be teaching this spring will be weekend workshop in New York and a weekend workshop in Chicago. If I have the interest, I may do one in DC soon. The classes will be outside. You can wear a mask if you want, but I'm not. Okay? Masks will not be required for these classes at all. And in Chicago, I'll be teaching it right by this beautiful lake. See? So lovely. Sun keeps coming and going. In New York, I'll be teaching it in Central Park. So to register for the classes, it's so funny. I should have had I don't have my New York dates in front of me, but I will write them below. For Chicago, it's June 5th and 6th. The early bird registration deadline is on May 15th. And then after that, the price goes up. And there's also the you can pay via payment plan, and I will put all the information below. Yeah, I'll put all the information below. If you would like to register, just contact me directly at thebodyscientist81@gmail.com, and all that information will be below, as I said. And this class is good for women of all ages. Okay, it's good whether you are, whether you want kids, you don't want kids, you had kids, you're pregnant, you're going through menopause, you already went through menopause. It's good for all different ages because the eggs help women who have menstrual issues. They help women who have orgasmic issues. And if you don't have orgasmic issues, that's okay. They'll still make your orgasms more intense. And sexual energy is spiritual energy, and it feeds your chi, strengthens your chi. It's also, good for postmenopausal women or women that have dryness issues, which can happen postmenopausal childbirth as well. And it's important for a woman's vaginal muscles to stay wet, to be wet, our vaginal canals, because the wetness in our vaginal canal actually helps keep it healthy. But as a woman ages, especially after menopause, the vaginal muscles, if a woman doesn't take certain steps, then the muscles will atrophy, which means they thin out, they get weak, and they dry out, and then sex becomes very uncomfortable for a woman. But that's not inevitable. It doesn't have to be something that just happens, okay? And the medical industry would just give you chemical creams and surgeries to try to rectify that, my sensual strength training class has been a couple years, but I'm about to reintroduce it. So if you're interested in registering, please hit me up. To the men, if you want to sign up, a woman named lady in your life who you think this class will benefit, that's great. I've known men who've done that in the past for their wife, and even if you don't have any issues at all. It's still good to work on yourself so you don't get issues, and we can always be better. Remember that, we can always be better. When I've taught my classes, women have always told me the favorite part was the dancing, actually, which is interesting. I'm not a dance teacher, but I use dance as a tool to get women to connect and to heal and to move energy. So, I think I've said all I wanted to say about this class. I'll be posting information about it on my social media, on my Instagram pages, and I will post more information below about the pricing and all of that, okay? So I hope to see you all in my class soon. It's right before the U.S. made the mandate that we had to have a negative COVID test to get back in the country. I was about to organize a workshop in Mexico. I was trying to think of a good place to do it. And I wanted to do it someplace where you don't need to, where it's easy for Americans to travel to, because I'm not getting vaccinated. But it's good when you have live drums. So when I do it in New York, if I can get live drummers, I will, because the live drums just adds extra chi to it. But yeah, so I think I've said everything I need to say. If you have any questions, just reach out to me, and have a lovely day, people. Bye.